DEMOCRATIC. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere. Get ready for a chat with the chair.
I'm Joe Etling, Chair of the Vigo County Democratic Central Committee, and welcome to the award-winning Chat with the Chair. I'm so delighted you could join us. We've got a great show tonight. Reminding our viewers out there that early voting has started. The primary is right around the corner in May, but you can get out and vote in Vigo County. The Annex and the Holt Center are places where you can vote early. So we encourage everybody to exercise their right to vote. You can still vote on primary election day, but encourage everybody to exercise their right to vote. It's so important to be involved in the process. A lot of great candidates on the ballot, so please get out and support them. They're working hard. The signs throughout the community definitely tell you that everybody's out campaigning. So without any further ado, we've got a great guest here tonight. His name's on the ballot. Tell our viewers who you are.
And I'm Ray McCormick, and I'm from Knox County, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in the 8th District.
Well, welcome to the Chat with the Chair. Your first time into the chat.
It is.
And actually, it was a kind of a pseudo chat, but your wife, who was here for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, got a little bit of interviewing with the chair. Now, she didn't get the full blazer, Ray, so you're here on the chat. What do you think of the blazer?
I think it is a blazing... It is a blazing demonstration of full commitment to the Democrat Party.
Well, you know, Ray, that's going to be the most tough and difficult question you're going to get throughout the course of the chat tonight. So you handle that one well. So I don't think anything involving policy or Congress is going to trip you up here if you handled that question the way you did. So talk to our viewers about your background a little bit, Ray.
All right, so I'm a fourth generation farmer. I live on the same hill that my great-grandfather lived on. I farmed all of my life. The only time I've been off the farm was when I went to college, and I went to college in Vincennes University and then Colorado State University. And people said, well, why are you moving from Colorado back to Indiana? And I said, it's a better place to live. And it is. Southwestern Indiana is a very special place, and I've spent my whole life working on not just farming, but on conservation. And I've learned a lot and formed a lot of partnerships and done a lot of conservation work. I've worked at the U.S. level, the national level, on things like the Farm Bill, and soil health, the Endangered Species Act, the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act. So I've been heavily involved in shaping the future of our country, and I've decided at this point in my life I got to get on it, because our planet needs a lot of help, and we can do a lot of things, and farmers in particular can, because they control most of the land. Here in Indiana, it's about 14 million acres, and so nobody can have the impact on our water quality and air quality and on climate change like farmers can. And I've been doing all of these things on my farm, and a lot of others do it, so I want to influence people nationally to get involved before it's too late.
You definitely have some great ideas that we want to talk about. But let's talk a little bit before we get to that about your family. Just talk about your wife and your family so that our viewers can know a little bit more about you.
Well, my family, as far as some of the history of it, is Cyrus McCormick, who was one of the original McCormicks in this country in 1833. Wow. Started advertising the reaper. And the reaper mechanized food, the harvesting of food in the world. It was a machine that would cut the wheat and harvest it instead of doing it by hand. Instead of harvesting about a half acre a day, he invented a machine that could be pulled by horses and harvest the wheat. He and his brother then formed a company called International Harvester.
Heard of it.
So it's the first company in the world that actually went out and merchandised and sold their equipment versus a farmer having to come get it. So they were pioneers in the harvesting and the feeding of the world. My grandfather, Clarence, was Undersecretary of Agriculture in the Truman administration. Wow. So him and Minnie and my grandmother often went out to supper together, and so we had close ties to the Truman administration. So my Democrat background goes way back, but really my life has been focused not only just on the Democrat Party, but on what I can do on my land and help influence others of what they can do on their land. So that McCormick maybe need to be a leader, mine is transformed in how to be a leader in conservation.
That's awesome. So you, of course, are awful busy with your job on the farm. What was it that triggered you to decide to make a commitment to run for United States Congress? I've
really been helping others run for Congress for decades. And when I thought the opportunity was right and I thought Hostetler could be beat, I told my wife I wanted to run for Congress and I could beat him. And she said no. And she says, you've got a family and you've got a farm to take care of and you can't go off and leave us. Well, it wasn't a week later that Brad Ellsworth walked into my office and asked me for my support with him, since I'd supported so many other candidates. And by golly, I helped him. He won. And so I thought the timing was right then. And I know the timing's right now, because you talked about the questions that we face. The question that I hear the most on the campaign trail: who is our congressman? I hear it all the time. It's amazing that people don't even know who their congressman is, and that's going to change. When I'm their congressman, they'll know who I am, because I'm going to be
that today.
I'm going to be the Wabash Cannonball coming down the Wabash, and it's not going to be quiet and it's not going to be gentle. It's going to be let's get on the move and let's get things done, and let's join the president and the Secretary of Agriculture and get on this conservation movement, and let's save this planet while we got time.
So what was it that convinced your wife to come around on the decision to you to run?
I think she got tired of being around me, and she says, you go for it, you have at it.
So she's trying to get you off to D.C. now.
That is exactly right. So she's already said, get another car so you can leave that at the airport when you're gone all the time, and so forth. But my son, he's 40 years old, and I had to run it by him. And I said, Nate, I'm going to run for Congress and not farm at all. I'm going to turn it completely over to you, because I'm not going to do both. And he says, if that's what you want to do, then you ought to do that. So at 40 years old, he's a changed man. He's taken over the farm, and I spend every day on the campaign. So the timing is right. So, my children have moved out, and my son's old enough to take care of the farm, and my wife's tired of seeing me there every night asking what's for supper. So I'm gonna go to Washington, D.C.
So you're campaigning full time for this job, and talk about your platform and the issues that we've referenced a little bit here that you've found most important as you've gone and hit the campaign trail.
Yeah, well, thank you. My slogan is grow our future. So, one of the things that is sweeping across this country and across the world is the soil health movement, because soil is the foundation to all of our lives, all of our community. We're made up with the same minerals and elements that the soil has. So we really come from the soil. And when you have healthy soils, then you have nutritious food. Healthy soils and cover crops help clean the air and sequester carbon, and they help clean the water and keep the nutrients out of the Gulf. So many places in our society around the world have fallen apart. What was the Garden of Eden has turned to rock and desert. And we have to take care of that fundamental thing, the land, in the 8th District and in this country, or we are going to run out of soil, and we're going to run out of water, and the climate's going to change like it has in the Middle East. So that's my basis, that's my foundation. Now, all of those things tie in with quality of life. So we're going to have a big economic boom in southwestern Indiana from the growth of low-cost energy, but we also need a boom in young people wanting to stay in this community. You know, we don't want the best and the brightest to say we're going to move to Chicago or Indianapolis. We want them to stay here in the 8th District. And I think a healthy environment, a beautiful landscape, and then clean air and clean water are all going to be part of people saying, this is a nice place to live. And as solar comes in, low-cost energy comes in, economics are going to boom. Businesses are going to come here. Data is going to come here. The big companies of the Silicon Valley are going to come here, because this is where the low-cost renewable energy is going to be. And as I heard on the Rural Network yesterday, it seems like every company's falling all over each other to see who can be the greenest. Well, we are going to be the greenest here, because we are going to take and transform coal-fired power plants into renewable energy power plants, because all the solar companies want to be where that grid system comes together. So as we slowly transition from coal to renewable energies, because of this massive amount of power plants and grid we have in this area, we're ground zero, and it's not going to happen. I'm already signed the contracts. Farmers everywhere are signing the contracts. They're designing the farms, the solar farms, to come in now. What I'm working on is what we're going to grow on those solar farms. So we're going to get dual use of collecting sunlight, not only to produce our energy and keep our lights on, but we're also going to grow food, and we're going to graze those, and we're going to have pollinator habitat, and we're going to sequester carbon in these solar farms. So, you know, I was just watching a program on it, and this has been going on for 10 years. The research has been going on for 10 years. So it's a bright future in southwestern Indiana.
So it's a really great opportunity, and I know you've talked about this on the campaign trail. I've heard you numerous times talk about this 8th District being ground zero for that. And it's really, as you said, a great opportunity for us in the 8th District from a national and even a global perspective. Talk about how that is, and the composition of this district plays into that, and if you're in Washington representing this district, how that's going to help everybody in the 8th District.
I think everybody wants to have economic growth and job growth. And when we transition from coal to solar, there won't be lots of coal trucks, and there won't be lots of people working on solar farms, and that's one of the good things about it. That's what makes it low-cost energy. But the construction of thousands and thousands of acres of solar farm, I just talked to my friend that's in the construction business, and he's just south of Terre Haute making all the pads and so forth to put all of the collection sites there and the paths and the roads in and out of it. There'll be a huge amount of electrical work done, so those of our friends in the electrical unions are going to have great job growth. But it's these other companies that are coming. We're going to need new roads. We're going to need new bridges. As one solar executive told me, the Evansville airport will no longer be big enough. So there will be jobs. There'll be good union jobs. There'll be good paying jobs. There'll be ones that are helping our planet and helping us be sustainable. And as we grow, and as these high quality jobs come in, only union people have the safety and the training to do those jobs. So I think it's going to be a boom for everybody in the community that wants to work and wants to do it safely and wants to do it trained. I think these companies are coming.
Is this an issue you've heard our current congressmen refer to or talk about in any way, shape, or form?
You know, one of the things that triggered me on running is I was meeting with the mayor of Vincennes on a Native American park we're going to bring in there. And he said, Bouchon's man is over here in the other room if you want to go talk to him. I thought, well, you know, I'll go in and talk to him. And I looked down at his sheet, and he had no one on there. Nobody had been in the office to talk to the gentleman representing Bouchon. And I started to tell him this story about all this solar coming and how much economic growth was. And he goes, well, what's that got to do with our congressman? And I thought, maybe I should be our congressman and not have to teach somebody else, help them understand where our planet's headed, what renewable energy means, what healthy food means, and so forth. I thought, since I've been doing this, and I won't have to be taught, I'm going to be part of the solution.
We'll talk to our viewers just if they don't know the scope of the 8th District, how many counties we're working from, and how many miles you're logging daily.
It's as big as Texas, I think. I've been everywhere, man. When I see that on TV, I'm like, I've been to Petersburg, I've been to Vandenberg, I've been everywhere. But it really goes all the way up to the northeast corner in Fountain County, and then it comes over into Vermilion County, and then follows the beautiful Wabash all the way down to Posey County, across along the beautiful Ohio. That's a beautiful drive there from Evansville all the way over into Perry County, Tell City, and then back up past Bloomington, up through Park County and on up. So it's 21 counties, but I can tell you it's some of the most beautiful driving you'll ever see. And I look forward to meeting with everybody on that trail.
I know how hard you're working. Talk to our viewers what kind of response you're getting on the campaign trail.
People in the 8th District are great people. So it's fun, to go meet people every day. Mm-hmm. Some of who you've seen before, some of them who you haven't seen for years, come in and say, Ray, so they're old friends, some of them are new friends. But these people all up and down through the 8th District, they're friendly, they have strong moral character, they have religious beliefs which tie in with my belief of taking care of God's creation, taking care of the earth, and they want to express themselves and let me know what's some of the most important things to them. So I enjoy hearing that and learning from them. That's what I want to do, is I want to represent the people of 8th District and listening to what they got to say. What are their top priorities? What are their concerns? What are their problems? One of the problems they have is Bouchon doesn't even sign on with any of their projects. He doesn't lend support to community projects. He doesn't think that's his place to do that. I think that's exactly what I should be doing, is going into every small community and large community, from Terre Haute to Decker, where I went to grade school. These little towns need somebody that comes from out in the country and understands these fundamental problems they have, just having clean water and clean sanitary and just all the problems, the crime and the drugs that plague those areas. Visiting with the sheriffs around the 8th District really opens up your eyes to the problems we face with drug addiction and so forth, and mental illness and so forth. So, listening to these people and understanding the problems and what the solutions are, I think is going to help me help them have better lives out in rural 8th District.
Other than wanting to know who their current congressman is, what's the other issue that comes up most frequently, would you say, on the campaign trail with people regarding the issues or concerns that they have?
Certainly, when the legislature was in session, the attack on public education was fundamentally against everyone that I was meeting. As my good friend, attorney and high school teammate said, education is the great equalizer. So these people that were in Decker grade school with me, with 16, 18 people in there, they've lived good lives. They made good grades. And now, through public education, they are productive people in our community. So those teachers, this public education gave them a foot up, made everything so they could succeed. They had just as good a chance as everyone else. And I think that lifts up our communities. We have Indiana State, and we have Evansville, and we have Vincennes University, and so forth. So education, I think, is very high on the list. Taking care of children, child care, and being able to get women back to work, and helping empower women in the workplace and in leadership positions and everything. I hear a lot about that too.
Now, how do you see your background coming from a small town and being in the center part of the district, and your background in farming? How do you see those being attributes to you in running for Congress and serving in Congress?
Well, first of all, I think if you've grown up in a very rural community, you have stories just like they do that communicate that you came from that same kind of background. And that may be a story of the sow chasing you up the tree, or it may be fishing in the local stream, or it may be the hard working values you got from putting up hay. And it was things like that that I think is a common bond among me and a lot of people in the 8th District. Now, I've worked on a lot of things at the national level and big bills at the national level, but in the last 5 years or so, I've tried to work in my local community, and that's been some of the most rewarding things I've done, to get down and meet with people and bring people together. And so many of the things in politics right now, and you hear this, drive people apart, and people don't like that. People from our area, they like each other. They stop on the road when you got your hood up. Everybody waves at each other. You know, I had a doctor friend move here, and he says, I need a hand on my dash because you got to wave at everybody as you go down the road. So, you know, it's great people, and you got to believe in them, and you have to appreciate them. Whether they make $10,000 a year or $100,000 a year, they're all intelligent. They all get by using their wits. And some of them may have a divorce problem or the way they were brought up, but they're smart people, they're good people, and working with them and giving them jobs and giving them an education, I think that builds our country.
And I assume those are some of the traits that you want to take to Washington and bring those types of values to Congress.
I do. And I think having a door that's not only open in Washington, D.C., but coming back. So I think when you come back, you go to the people and you meet with them. You know, our current congressman doesn't live here anymore. He seldom comes, and when he does, he surrounds himself with police officers, and I don't understand that, how you can not trust the people of your own district. And so he doesn't really, I feel like, really like it here. But he serves in Washington, D.C., and he's a vote there. But we need somebody that can walk well and can walk up to people and walk down that road and be in that gymnasium or be in that combine with them, that gets out there and just gets with the people so they feel like you're working for them. And hard work's all I've ever known. And I'm going to work hard. This isn't going to be a 4-day-a-week fly back and forth. This is going to be a 7-day-a-week. So my son may be farming for a while, but I look forward to the hard work.
Well, I know when you announced your candidacy, you were enthusiastic, and your enthusiasm hasn't waned at all. In fact, if anything, you probably picked up enthusiasm.
I have.
Say.
It's been fun. I'm not kidding you. Meeting with people and going to these communities and sitting down and having lunch with them and just understanding what each little community in that district is like is and not just like what it looks like. You know, these little towns are so beautiful and so forth. And I'm like, my appreciation for the 8th District and my appreciation for the people and my enthusiasm, as you said, I come home with a big smile on my face, and somebody says, how'd it go? I said, it was a home run. It was like, wow, I never expected. I went to the FOP meeting here the other night, and I'm like, how am I going to fit in at an FOP meeting, you know? And I was concerned that I would be out of place and I wouldn't be comfortable. And the first person I hit is somebody that I've met before on the campaign trail. Then I meet an old friend, and he's introducing me to people. And after a while, I'm like, this is like one of the funnest things I've done. And I was cautious. I was concerned how I would fit in. So I went home with a big smile on my face and said, that was a good meeting, and I'm glad I knew about it, because I want to go to every single meeting I can.
Well, it was impressive you were there, and of course your opponent definitely wasn't there, so.
I keep forgetting. Who is that again?
I can't remember either.
It's that doctor guy is what people say.
But there's no question anytime you run against an incumbent, and particularly when you're running as many counties as you are, it's a big job doing what you're trying to accomplish here. So talk to our viewers. how they can get involved, what you need them to do, and how they can reach you.
There's all kinds of ways. So you can go to raymccormickforcongress.com and you become a volunteer, or you can donate. You know, one of the biggest hurdles, and I hate to say it, is he'll have millions of dollars. He's already got millions of dollars, and I've got to raise money in small amounts. Running for a federal office, there's only so much any one person can give me. So a big part of it is getting people to help me get funding so I can at least be close to be on an equal balance with him. Other things they can do is they can go to the website and visit and see places I've been and watch videos like this. But one of the other things we're doing is we're trying to understand, Joe, how to get young people involved. And that's hard to do, and nobody's come up with a good answer. So we're thinking about maybe having some town hall meetings where young people can come and it's their voice. I'm not going to be speaking. They can speak and they can communicate. On my website, we're thinking about having art displayed on there with a message. So young people, or anyone, I don't care whether it's crayons or with a computer, to generate these images that go with their concerns today. So it might be a video or a painting of a planet, or it might be taking pride in our district and so forth. So letting people express themselves on our website and being able to have others look in and join in on that, that's one way we're trying to understand how to get young people involved. People say, well, young people say it doesn't count. And Joe, we might have felt that way too. We went through some hard times when we were young. You know, we just had Martin Luther King's assassination was just anniversary a couple of other days, and JFK was killed while we were, while I was in 5th grade class. The teacher came in and told us about that. And then Bobby Kennedy, and I'm reading a book about him, but Bobby Kennedy was going to be our savior, and he was going to get us out of Vietnam, and we were teenagers, and this was, this was tough. Our country was split, and then he's assassinated. So I tell young people, things are hard now and things are tough and they feel isolated or they feel like they don't belong and so forth. But, you got to saddle up and get involved. And whether it's supporting me, my opponent, or some of the people at the grassroots level in their county, I think young people our age, everyone needs to get involved, but we need young people to believe that we're on their side. And they have a voice, and they can make a difference.
I can't agree with you more. We want to sign up to host one of those events for young people. I think your message definitely resonates with them, and I think that would be a great message and a great event to host here in Vigo County, and we'd like to be a part of that, because I do think that what you bring with regard to the issues that will resonate with those young people and what can be taken to DC and what we can do to help just make the 8th District flourish more and more, keep people here. We've talked to so many people that their kids are going away, going to different states, and there's so much to be offered here, as you said, in the 8th District. We just want to keep them here, and I think sending you to Congress is going to help that happen.
The door is open, and I'm going to come charging through it. There's an old saying that says when you throw Mother Nature out the window, she comes back kicking in the door. Well, I'm going to kick in a few doors and get people enthused, and I hope that spreads all over the 8th District.
We're delighted you came in and joined us here, and we want any final thoughts or message for our viewers out there?
Well, when you see an electric car go by that's got a big logo on the side of it with hands out passing the planet on, that's me. And I'm going to be traveling all up and down the roads. We'll be putting out yard signs. We'll be going to meetings, and I just appreciate the opportunity to come up and be with you here in Vigo County, and I just look forward to a really positive experience working with you, working with all the candidates, and I hope anyone out there that's saying, maybe I've always thought about running, I wonder if I could run, you can. We need you on the ballot. So anyone out there that hasn't been asked, nobody asked me, and I'm like holding up my hands, ask me. Finally I said, I'll do it, I'll run. And so here I am. So you can do that too. get involved. Go down to the local Democrat headquarters, get involved and say, hey, I'll run for county council, county commissioner, for state representative. And you know what? All of us are going to help you, just like they're helping me. So get involved. Be a candidate.
And remind our viewers again how they can get involved. Give them your website so we know where to go.
All right, so you can either follow that car with all those logos down the highway and see where I'm going, or you can go to RayMcCormickForCongress.com, RayMcCormickForCongress.com, and that'll lead you out to these different avenues of getting involved.
We're excited about you being here. Those viewers, we want you to make sure you like us, share us, get this word about Ray, and again, we're going to see you, I know, throughout the 8th District, but we're excited about seeing you throughout the number of events here in Vigo County. You're always welcome here, Ray.
Thank you.
Thanks for being in to Chat with the Chair.
I'm glad to do it.
And I'm Joe Etling. This is another great edition of Chat with the Chair, the award-winning Chat with the Chair. Until our next chat, I'm Joe Etling. God bless you. Be safe.
McCormick. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch.